Good evening, is the Oscar expert here? Welcome to Movie Reviews, where we review movies. I saw a movie, Peanut Butter Falcon. Shia LaBeouf's in it. Dakota Johnson's in it. And a newcomer, Zach Gottsagen, is in it. It's like a quirky, lighthearted drama about a boy with Down syndrome who runs away from the retirement home that he's staying in just because they need someone to take care of him. And he runs into Shia LaBeouf, who's also running away from people that he pissed off. Shia LaBeouf's character Tyler wants to head south, and Zach, the boy with Down syndrome, wants to go to a wrestling school, which is on the way. So they go on this journey together, and guess what? They bond, and they have a charming relationship that forms, and it makes you feel good to watch it. Going into a movie like this, all I really wanted was to feel good, have some heartfelt moments, have some good chemistry between the actors, good character development. While this movie did deliver on some of the charm and the heart, there was a lot that I found to be desired. The more that I thought about this movie and thinking about the characters, there was a lot more that I wanted to get out of them. It seems like the intention going into this movie was that they wanted to make a wholesome movie. And they did that. But they did it in a way where they chased being wholesome over pretty much everything else. A lot of people have criticized this movie for being cliche, and it's definitely true a lot of times, but it's more like they resembled what would become a wholesome movie by taking bits and pieces of what seems like it would fit together into a story, but kind of forgetting about what's the core of the movie? What's the main theme? Where does this all connect to beneath the surface? Because above the surface, it's a charming movie. It's got all that stuff there that's going to make you feel good. When you look at character motivations, character development, it doesn't actually come together in a cohesive whole, which would have made the movie much more effective for me. There might be chemistry between Tyler and Zach, but I want to see something a little deeper than that. How do these characters change each other? How do they grow from one another? What do they learn from each other? This movie surprisingly didn't explore that very much. Tyler's character changes because he becomes a little less grumpy with Zach. This doesn't take very long for Tyler to make this change, and then Tyler goes on this kind of mission to help out Zach and help him believe in himself to become the wrestler that he always wants to be. What motivation there is for him to try to help Zach is pretty thin. It's just basically that he's lacking a family. Every person in this movie is lacking family in a very obvious way. And then they come together and then they form a dysfunctional family based around the idea that they are a dysfunctional family. Most of the movie is that Tyler is the one teaching Zach and Eleanor, played by Dakota Johnson, life lessons. And why is Tyler a good person to be teaching them the life lessons? Why not Zach, the more interesting character? It just seems strange to me, what does Tyler have to offer? And it's kind of weird that you'd think that they would explore the character of Zach a lot more, and he's the one teaching Tyler stuff. Isn't that the recipe right there? If the movie's digging so into cliches, isn't that the cliche that Zach is an unlikely person to be able to teach Tyler something about himself? But no, Tyler is the one really doing all the work here, and he also teaches Dakota Johnson's character Eleanor, who he likes and he thinks is hot and he has a crush on her and all that. He basically just teaches her to be less uptight. She comes into it and she's like, we have rules, we need to get him back to the home, and he's like, just chill out, bro. Just chill out. You're too uptight. I'm not one of those people who hunts down the criteria for roles for females or whatever, but I honestly didn't think that this role for Dakota Johnson, as well as she played it, was a well-written female character, to be honest. She's a love interest and she brings nothing to the other people's lives. It's just that she's there to learn from the man who likes her. Her character's personality is mostly that she's uptight, but I can see that Dakota Johnson's trying to break that. It's weird. I'm seeing a theme in Dakota Johnson's characters, her 50 Shades character, her Suspiria character, where she's giving her all to characters that are written badly. I will say, to this movie's credit, I've never seen a movie where a character has Down syndrome in a major role. The only thing I can think of is The Ringer. That is the only movie I can think of that I've seen that has Down syndrome characters. He is the most interesting character, by default, and we don't really get to explore him that much. You know that scene in every movie where the characters hunker down for the night and they're by the fire and they have a discussion? Well, in this movie, they have that. I was real on board, I was ready to embrace the cliches, but my God, this scene was rushed. I'll try to reiterate what I remember from the dialogue. It was like Zach was like kind of making like grunting noises and pretending to be like the bad guy wrestler that you see on TV, and he goes, "Are you the bad guy?" And he says, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, why do you think you're the bad guy?" And he says, "Because my parents abandoned me," or something weird like that. And it's like, whoa, we just went from 0 to 100. You're not going to ease into that. You're not going to like build it up. You're not going to like peel back the layers. It's just a rushed scene. And I felt like a lot of the more important stuff, the meaty stuff, the characters, was rushed in this movie. It didn't feel like it really took the time to get to explore who they were. It was just like, we want to see Zach and Tyler just bond. We just want to see them bond. So let's just get to them bonding. And they skipped a lot of the good stuff, to be honest. I will say, to every performer's credit, they all did a good job. But perhaps my favorite performance in the movie, who I didn't actually know was in the movie until he showed his face, was Thomas Hayden Church. Great in Sideways, but where is he overall? He's not in that many movies, but in this movie, I was like, man, I miss him from movies. He was just so good, and he had no right to be. His character didn't need to be anything, and he gave a lot to his character. But on the flip side, John Hawkes, a great actor, is completely wasted in this movie. I hated the villain in this movie. I hated that there was an antagonist that gets to drive up in their truck with his little like tattooed sidekick and be like, "Where is he? Give him our money." Why does this movie need this? I mean, why can't the antagonist be something that they're grappling with on the inside? I mean, it just didn't see the need for this one-dimensional villain thing just for the sake of like, let's just bring him in here and have some bad guys. Like, come on. The theme of this movie is just like family. Why? Because that's nice. Because it's nice. There's nothing deeper about this movie. It didn't even need to be super deep for me, but if the characters were more fleshed out, I would have forgiven it for that. But still, I have to say, like, this movie delivered on heart for the most part. It had touching moments. It had a lot of funny moments. A lot of them were because Zach Gottsagen's character was just so charming and fun to watch. But overall, the surprising lack of character building was the biggest issue for me. Although I like moderately enjoyed this movie and it looks good, the cinematography is nice, I come away with more complaints than positives. Just because it's charming, I feel like that was the easy thing for it to do, and it didn't like go further. I don't necessarily dislike the movie, but because most of this review was me saying negative things, and I'm between a 5 and a 6, I'm gonna have to go with a 5. How can I say negative things for 80% of this review and then give it a 6? I don't really know. That's not how it's gonna happen today. So if you just want to see a charming movie and you think that you'll probably like it, I would give this movie a shot. I would still like recommend it, especially with a 95 or whatever it is on Rotten Tomatoes. I hope you had fun watching this review. And no matter what time it is, wherever you're watching this video, have a good afternoon.